ratios and proportions is the whole chapter. Starting at section 5.1, finding and simplifying ratios. Grade D rated, page 63, 5.1. Looking at question 1. Question 1A, very straightforward. It says here we've got to simplify this ratio here. It's a 2 to 4 ratio. Obviously, if you divide each part by 2, we're going to get a 1 to 2 ratio. Is that alright? Straightforward. Let's try another one. We'll do a 2 to 12. If we divide by 6, if you divide by 2, we're going to get a 1 to 6 ratio. Alright, let's get rid of that little mess because that's just not good, is it? Try another one. 24 to 36. I think 12s can go in quite nicely, so 12 goes into that twice, 12 goes into 36 3 times. That's essentially a ratio of 2 to 3. Now, if you find you don't like doing it in one step, why not just go halving it down, as one would simplify a fraction? So halve it down. 12 to, is that 18? Halve it down again, so even numbers. 6 to 9. We can't halve the 9, so we find the highest common factor, which is 3, so we can divide each little bit by 3. So 6 divided by 3 is 2, 9 divided by 3 is 3, and we arrive at the same answer anyway, so we know we've got it right. Here's a nasty little piece of work here. 2.5 to 7.5. Now, okay, don't worry about it. There's two ways of doing this. If we top heavy the fraction, 2 2s are 4 plus the 1 is 5. I've got 5 halves, and 7 2s are 14 plus the 1 gives me 15. So it's 15 halves. So I've got 5 of something compared to 15 of something. So I can go straight into the ratio and call it 5 lots to 15 lots, since we're talking about the same lot there and there. And we can further simplify by going 1 to 3, because we've just divided each part by 5. Another way of doing it, you can see those horrible little halves there and there. Well, if we multiply the ratio by 2 on both sides, we're going to get 2 lots of 2.5, which is 5, and 2 lots of 7.5, which is 15. And we end up at this step again. So simplifying as before, we have a 1 to 3 ratio. Is that alright? Because we just divided each bit by 5. Is that fine? Nothing else tricky there at all. Question 5. I'll just turn over for this one. A real ratio question now. It says here, a book reading group has men and women, so straight away I want to go men to women. It's a ratio question, and the ratio is 2 to 7. Please note, 2 lots of men for every 7 lots of women. Obviously a lot more women there. There are 21 actual women there, and the question says how many men are there, so call that mystery X. Now we can set up the calculation as follows. We can say X divided by 21 is just like comparing the 2 to 7. Is that alright? So this divided by that is like saying 2 divided by 7. Then we can use the method of cross multiplication. So we can take the 7 over there and multiply, and take the 21 over there and multiply. I think the Americans call it cross products, but anyway, this is England. So we've got 7 lots of X makes 2 lots of 21. So 7 lots of X. The pen's just died. Let's just rub this out. That did not have to happen. Try it again. 7 lots of X makes 2 lots of 21, which is 42. Then to get our mystery value X, which is the number of men in the club, 42 divided by 7, and that gives us 6 chappies. Alright, so 21 women, 6 chaps. Let's just do a quick test on that. If we got it right, then 6 to 21 should simplify back down to 2 and 7. Well, how do you get from 6 down to 2? Divide by 3. How do you get from 21 down to 7? Divide that by 3 as well. And it actually does give you the correct answer. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 21 divided by 3 is 7. And that's fine. So we got it completely right. It says then, part B, 2 more men join the group. 2 more men join the group. So how many have I got so far? 6. How many more women are needed to keep the ratio of men to women the same? So 2 more men. So I've got 8 men. 2. I don't know how many women yet, but I know the ratio is going to stay the same. So I've got to match the 8 and the 2 with the 7 and the whatever you have just here. So let's just call it a letter. Let's now get rid of this. Now we know what the sum's about. We'll get rid of that. We'll call it X for women now, or Y for women, so as to separate it from the X before, which is what the men were. So, great way to do it. 2 lots of men to 7 lots of women, 8 men and Y women. We're about to work that out in a minute. So, let's take a look. How do we get from 2 up to 8? Simple, multiply by 4. Therefore, how do we get from 7 to find the number of women in the new expanded group? Also multiply by 4. Therefore, we have 7 lots of 4, which is now 28 women in the group. All right. Another way you could have done it is using this cross product method. So here I go. I can say Y divided by 8. Guess the way I want to go makes 7. 7 divided by 2. Again, cross multiply. You get over there and you get over there. So I've got 2y makes 7 lots of 8. So 2y is 56. So a single y will be 56 divided by 2, and that would give me 28 women again in the expanded group. Is that all right? Not too bad, is it so far? Go on to the next page. Over to page 83, I want to look at question 9. It's a recipe question, so it's definitely my kind of question, that's for sure. And it says a recipe for pastry needs 50 grams of butter. So 50 grams of butter, and we need 100 grams of flour. Right, very basic pastry there. What is the ratio of butter to flour? So let's get it in the right order. Butter to flour. We're looking at 50 lots to 100 lots. Obviously, dividing by 50 on both sides of the ratio, we're going to get 1 to 2. Is that alright? So it's twice as much flour for the butter. So we've done A correctly. B says, how much butter is needed for 20 grams of flour? Let's set up the ratio. Butter to flour, we now know is 1 to 2. We want 200 grams of flour, and therefore we want to find how much butter would match that, so it remains in the same ratio. Alright, so well, I can see that 2 times 100 will make my 200, therefore I need 100 times as much for the butter as well. So 1 times 100, well, that's 100, so I need 100 grams of butter there just to make it match. Alright. C, how much flour is needed for 30 grams of butter? Rewriting the ratio, butter to flour, 1 to 2. 30 grams of butter, quite clearly, easy to see, just multiply that by 30, multiply the 2 lots by 30 as well to maintain the same ratio. So we're looking at 2 lots of 30, so 60 grams of flour. Clearly twice as much as 30, isn't it? So that's correct. What fraction, this is part D, what fraction is the butter's weight of the flour's weight? Right, the butter's weight of the flour's weight. So here we go, that's exactly 1/2. In other words, we have half the weight of butter as we have flour. So we've got that right as well.